us today.
Thanks, and hello, and thank you all for attending. What we're going to tell you about is civil engineering, public works, and infrastructure. That's the information, but the important part is the opportunities we see ahead for good, well-paying, challenging careers in public works. And I'll start with one example of mine. The most satisfying accomplishment of my career was with St. Paul when we cleaned up the Mississippi River going through the city. It used to have human waste in the sewers whenever it rained, as well as waste in people's basements. We ended that with a $300 million program, and it resulted in insects being able to live in the river. Fish came back to feed off the insects. Birds came back to feed off the fish. And during 2 sessions earlier today, 2 eagles flew by my window of my house on the bluff. And I was able to contribute to that big difference in St. Paul and to all the communities down the Mississippi River. So what we're going to talk about is one specific STEM career. You all are familiar with STEM, and within the engineering category, excuse me, there's several kinds of engineers. We're going to talk about civil, the ones we think are the very best, and more specifically about applying civil engineering in cities, counties, other governments, municipal civil engineering. Science is the base of engineering. Physics, chemistry have all the facts on how the world works, and engineering has to apply that to make it work. And we mostly apply that through technology, machines, processes, computers, software to do our work. And there's many careers available in STEM, and most all of these STEM careers are also available in public works departments. And some maybe not quite STEM work like accounting and mechanics are available also. But almost every type of job in some way can be followed in public works. And Jeffrey mentioned the really impressive $1.2 trillion bill passed by Congress, which will bring $12 billion to Georgia. This is a game changer. The demand for public works, for civil engineers in public works, is going to rise substantially over the next couple years.
So one of the things, Tom, before you proceed on, I'd like Rebecca to also speak on this slide because she's actually in Gwinnett, working in Gwinnett. So that's our neighboring sister county to DeKalb County. If she can just talk about, to give the students a reference of how the conditions of our bridges, roads, and transit system is here in the metropolitan Atlanta area.
Sure. I mean, just like your house or your car, infrastructure ages. Over time, it needs maintenance. Your house might need a new roof or a new air conditioner or, new paint on the walls, new flooring. But our roads and bridges, most of them were built more than 50 years ago, especially in DeKalb County, where you all are. It might have been 100 years ago that those roads were built. So over time, we got more people, right? That means more cars on the road, different cars on the road. So a bridge that, was built 50 years ago may have 20 times as many cars driving over it as it did 50 years ago when it was built. And so we're really having to work to keep up with the infrastructure maintenance and just the capacity of the roads and the bridges as well.
And one thing I do want to mention before we proceed to you guys is that I was watching the news the other day, and to tell you the impact of this infrastructure bill being passed is that there's I think it was a middle school in Mississippi, and at this middle school, because the water was not clean, they actually had to pass out bottled water to these students. And then for them to go to the bathroom, they had to go outside to use the porta potty. So they had to dismiss class about every hour and a half to 2 hours. And I remember, because part of my family is actually from Mississippi. I remember going through a city where the sewer system was backing up. And so waste was coming into people's homes, you guys. So this infrastructure bill could be a huge impact on various communities throughout the United States, not just, and also in Georgia.